watching KCRA 3, where the news comes first. KCRA 3 News starts right now.
Good afternoon and welcome to this special edition of KCRA 3 Reports because of our recent weather and now the storm fallout. A dramatic rescue has been caught on camera after flooding forces men to carry this grandmother to safety.
The water just up to the waist of her rescuers at this mobile home park.
The rain is just too much for some of the creeks and area streams. This is a scene that we'll be monitoring throughout the day and into the evening now all across the region. Water from Arcade Creek in Sacramento County shot up over the banks and into the streets there. Winding way resembling more like a river than a street that you're used to seeing cars on. And even communities not by creeks seen street flooding today. All the rain in East Sacramento got this morning, it was too much for the drains there. And you can see the street near McKinley Park is full of water. Just a mess in some areas today. Hours after the rain stopped, you can see the effects from Live Copter 3. This is over Linda Creek in Roseville, and you can see even more flooding there. Now, the rain was falling fast this morning, as a lot of you know, the height of the storm. This is what it looked like in Citrus Heights from about 8 to 9 o'clock. Raindrops pounding the pavement there. Live triple Doppler showing most of the weather now has moved out, but there is still rain and snow falling in the Sierra. Strong winds also causing some power problems for thousands. Here's some video of a tree that crashed out in Citrus Heights early this morning, and it was before 7 a.m. In the high country, Truckee saved by the snow. Flooding fears are calming tonight after the rain turned into snow, which is good news for the Truckee River that was forecasted to reach historic highs. So with all this in mind, we have a team of meteorologists and reporters covering every angle of the storm. Live Copter 3 also in the air looking at all the damage right now. Let's start with KCRA 3 meteorologist Dirk Verdorn with where the rain and snow is still coming down. Dirk?
Well, you can see that most of it has exited our region, and now we're just holding on to some showers working their way through Tuolumne County and pushing on up into the Sierra where it is coming down in the form of some snow. Let's zoom into that area. Still a few lingering showers around Sonora. Groveland seeing some light rain, as well as Tuolumne, Twain Hart, things kind of breaking up. You can see along Highway 108 is where things are really starting to wind down. Highway 4 is dry at this point. You can see from Forest Meadows all the way up past Bear Valley. A little bit farther north, some snow is working its way over the crest of the Sierra. We're seeing kind of a rain-snow mix on I-80, but for the most part, things are really starting to wind down right now with the precipitation as well as with the winds. That was another feature that we had this morning with the really strong winds, and right now winds ranging anywhere from 7 to 10 miles per hour. That's the latest with what the storm is doing now. Now back over to you.
Dirk, thank you. Kelly, KCRA 3 cameras were rolling this morning during a dramatic rescue in Citrus Heights. KCRA 3's Mike Lurie has the story of a 93-year-old blind woman whose grandson saved her from floodwater surrounding her home. It's a story you'll only see here on KCRA 3.
This is Grandma and Bill. She's safe.
A dramatic rescue this morning at the Villa Mobile Home Park in Citrus Heights, where Arcade Creek exploded over its banks, flooding out dozens of residents here. Ruthie Coker was lifted through thigh-high water by her grandson, and despite the danger, Ruthie seemed in good spirits.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. It's these four guys that had to haul me out here.
But with floodwaters raging, grandson Bill Coker knew he had to move fast.
My grandma's 93 and completely blind.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's safe. My mom's coming to pick her up.
But other residents of the mobile home park were not so fortunate. David Trevino showed us his flooded out trailer. Arcade Creek had swallowed up everything he owns in just 20 minutes.
There's over a foot, 2 feet of water inside. 2 feet of water.
Everybody behind us has lost almost everything. Everyone's been evacuated, and it's horrible. I've never seen nothing like this in real life. Never.
This 40-foot oak tree along Auburn Boulevard was another casualty of the storm. A storm that sent torrential rains and powerful winds throughout the region, causing power outages for more than 20,000 customers.
Rising waters along Arcade Creek have caused major flooding and traffic problems just behind American River College. And this road, as you can see, is completely impassable.
Winding Way was shut down to traffic with the roadway under at least a foot of water. College officials were quick to survey the damage.
It's definitely a concern, and my husband's the baseball coach, so kind of making sure all the facilities look okay.
The college was spared from any major damage, but for the folks flooded from the Villa Mobile Home Park, there is still a world of hurt. In Citrus Heights, Mike Lurie, KCRA 3 reports.
So hard watching that little old lady get out of that floodwater. So glad that she's okay. We're both just like, Watching that one there. Well, a lot of this happened before most people were awake this morning.
KCRA 3 Chief Meteorologist Mark Fina joining us now to walk us through what happened this morning.
Yeah, we'll start with the way Doppler looks now. Pretty quiet. Just the rain and snow left in Mariposa County. But let me take you back to 6:30 this morning. Here's Sacramento, here's Yuba City, and it was this line of rain. This was really the culprit. Sure, there was some really good rain going on throughout the area, but it was this line and lines like it that really started causing the problems. Out ahead of it, some strong winds. And at 6:35, we had a wind gust of 55 miles an hour measured at Beale Air Force Base. It was gusts like that ahead of this line that did cause a lot of the damage you saw with trees coming down and knocking out power to thousands for a while. Farther to the south, and this is at 7 o'clock, nearby in Davis, we've got a report that as this went by, they picked up a half an inch of rain in 10 minutes. The rain was falling that hard. In Sacramento at 8:05, that line going right through Roseville and through the Sacramento area. And at Rio Linda, they picked up 75 1/100ths of an inch of rain in the hour. It probably fell in a shorter period of time, but yeah, that was a lot. That was what started inundating the drains. Farther to the south, into Stockton, with this went through at around 9 o'clock, picked up 2/3 of an inch of rain in an hour. That's the line of heavy rain that steadily made its way through San Andreas and Farmington. And then farther to the south, it impacted Sonora at around 11 o'clock before finally dissipating. But it really was that line that marched across our area and did all the damage that we've been seeing. Back to you.
Mark, thank you. And one of the lasting impacts that we'll be monitoring throughout the evening from this storm are scattered power outages all across the area.
We shot this video from Live Copter 3 just about an hour ago in Folsom, and you can see crews working to get rid of a pretty big oak tree that fell this morning on a power line on Folsom Boulevard right near the Blue Ravine Road. The tree down also affecting light rail riders, and that is still the case at this hour. Light rail is telling us that it's putting folks on buses to shuttle riders between Sunrise and historic Folsom, which will end at around 7 o'clock tonight.
Lots of work there. Other parks of Roseville and that area are dealing with flooding this afternoon. Take a look at some of these pictures that were sent in to you local this morning. This is between North Kirby and Ridgecrest Way. You can see the pictures there, and obviously raindrops on the camera lens as it was a wet morning there.
So much flooding out there. The rivers and the creeks, a big concern moving forward. So let's bring Dirk Verdorn back in with a look at how those creeks and streams are doing now.
Yeah, first we're going to take a look at some of the rivers, some of the mainstream rivers that we've had concerns about as far as flooding. The first one is the Napa River. As we zoom into that area, we were projecting, at least the forecasts had the Napa River that was going to peak at flood stage, but right now it looks like it's kind of peaking at this point. It may get up to action stage and then it should start to taper off. So it does not look like they're going to, at least at this station, at this site, have the flooding that initially was forecast. The Truckee River, another spot where it looked like it was just prime conditions for some serious flooding. But with the change in the weather, the rain turning to some snow, it really helped to taper off that accumulation of water in the river. And you can see that it looks like it's going to peak, or it has already peaked below minor flood stage and should start dropping back down below action stage. Some of the creeks and streams, this is where we had probably some of the biggest problems, was actually the local creeks and streams. So we had Deer Creek still at flood stage. It's holding steady. Arcade Creek also at flood stage, and it's actually dropping at this point. Kirby Creek, Linda Creek, and Dry Creek all at monitor stage, and they're either dropping or holding steady right now. For more details about what's going on with our flooding and eye in the sky, we have David Bigger up over Linda Creek right now, where there has been some flooding. David.
Yeah, and Dirk, we have been obviously watching Linda Creek for a good portion of the day today, and obviously right now what we're looking at is right about where Champion Oaks is. This is where we have one of our gauges on Linda Creek that we were watching today. This did reach flood stage. You can see some of the water around the area, even in surrounding streets. We still have water on the roadway, but it looks like the water, as Dirk mentioned, has dropped down to about action stage, which is still touching the bridge there, which is very significant. Linda Creek and Kirby Creek were both creeks today that we watched jump up very quickly. We watched the level change about 3 feet over the course of 15 minutes. That's very rapid, and that was all as the very heaviest part of the rainfall moved through the area. And you can see what a mess it's left on some of the areas around here. We also saw some other areas that were water had backed up against houses and into driveways. And so Linda Creek, obviously being right in the middle of Roseville, is obviously a big concern. You can see that street there completely filled with water. That isn't a river or creek that you see heading off from that main road. That is actually another shoulder roadway, and it is completely inundated with water. Kelly, Chris, back to you.
All right, David Bigger live in Live Copter 3 HD with photographer Bill Schreckel this evening. Obviously rain here in the valley, and with some cooler temperatures up in the high country, that means that there has been snow up into the Sierra. KCRA 3 Chief Meteorologist Mark Finan now joins us to take a look at the snow.
Yeah, and it has been an interesting day. The Sierra actually started out with rain. When first thing this morning, when we had that line go through the area, it was raining all the way at Lake Tahoe as well as at King Vale. It was all rain at those elevations, but we got the colder air coming in and it changed over to snow. And as Dirk mentioned, that really helped out the creeks there, the Truckee River actually, because we did get that snow level dropping down. For a while, we had chain controls up on 80 and 50 and 80, 88, but those have since dissipated. Still getting some snow up here, but no more chain controls, and I do expect that that'll be winding down. But it was an interesting change that took place about mid-morning or so when all of that heavy rain we were seeing changed over to snow, and it really helped out the Truckee River. Back to you.
Mark, thanks so much. And speaking of, Mike DeSalle live in Kingvale to give us a first-hand look at the conditions. How much snow you see in there, Mike?
Well, you know, a lot of people expected nothing but rain today. We're still getting a little bit of light snow, but let me just show you the berm created by the snowplow just moments ago. You can see this is some serious snow. Now, it is the wet, heavy kind of snow, so this is kind of a solid chunk of ice. You can see people being able to make snowballs, having a snowball fight here right at Soda Springs off I-80. And in the words of the spokesperson over at Sugar Bowl Ski Resort, he said this was the real deal. They were expecting rain. They were expecting some snow later today, but he said right around 9:30, 10 o'clock is when the rain really turned over to snow, and it started dumping wet, heavy stuff. In fact, let me show you. You ask how much snow. You can see on the ground, it is that wet, slushy stuff. But over here, this is one of those cars that was parked here for a while. This red Jeep from Florida. Let's see. On the top of it, that's been parked here a while. That's pretty good. That's several, you know, look at that. That's a good 5, 6 inches, I'd say. And you can see over here, we got the big old plow out trying to push some of that snow. Now, the good news is out on the freeway, Interstate 80 traffic is moving quite smoothly for Sunday afternoon. No real issues on either side of the freeway now. However, when the snow was falling, there were lots of issues. In fact, there was one van that lost control, went down about a 30-foot embankment along Cisco Grove. They actually just left the van there, waiting for these weather conditions to kind of get better before they try and pull that van up. So there were a lot of issues along Interstate 80 over Donner Summit, but for now, things much calmer out on I-80. But again, this was a good dose of snow. In fact, spokesperson from Sugar Bowl Ski Resort says this sets them up very good now going towards the rest of December into the holiday. That all-important Christmas to New Year holiday, says they really needed the snow because, as you know, there was a lot of rain before this. Also, the Yuba River, man, it is churning today. Lots of white water. We'll try and get down there a little bit later. But for now, live at Soda Springs, I'm Mike DeSalle, KCRA 3 reports.
Mike, be careful coming back, and I'm sure he'll be at the resort next week checking out the conditions. Thank you, Mike. The snow has actually given Truckee some relief from all the flooding.
KCRA 3's Leticia Ordaz is in the Sierra with a look at the conditions there.
Dick Howell's home is right along the Truckee River with a third round of storms to hit the area. His family is worried about water, broken branches, and logs damaging his property.
My house is right at the turn, so the missiles come right at my house.
The river rose fast after being pounded for hours by heavy rain. Then came a welcome sight, snow and lots of it. Within a couple of hours, 4 to 6 inches of snow hit the ground.
Saved everybody, and everybody's thrilled to death to see the snow, and I think everybody feels the same way right now, is that yay, because you won't get as much runoff now. It'll stick.
Craig Lindsay lives on Foxmead Lane and has been monitoring the river from his backyard. With concerns of it reaching flood stage, some of his neighbors evacuated on Saturday, but he decided to stay put.
It's probably won't happen at all. So we're not really concerned about it at all. It's just the water, this is high spring level right now. So it's not really epic right now.
Truckee set up an evacuation center. With snow falling in the morning, homeowners didn't show up, but 4 stranded hikers from Colorado did. They made a stop to warm up after one of them got frostbite.
And we just didn't expect the storm. It took us by surprise. We weren't prepared, and we got stuck out there at night.
The last time residents in Truckee saw some major flooding was in 1997, and with today's storm, they're sure hoping this won't be a repeat. In Truckee, Leticia Ordaz, KCRA 3 reports.
And with the river not rising as fast, the Red Cross closed the evacuation center at 1 o'clock today. If there's no reason to renew those flood worries in Truckee, the Red Cross says it'll be back open sometime later today.
Saw some pictures on local from the Truckee River today. People trying to kayak down it. Some of those dieharders and expert kayakers out there working that this afternoon. So meteorologist Dirk Verdorn joining us once again. So Dirk, how much rainfall did we get today?
I've got some numbers here for you that are fairly impressive. And these are actually the 3 waves or 3 storm totals. It's not just today, it's not just yesterday. This is the total from the 28th, from Wednesday to today. And you can see we have numbers ranging anywhere from Modesto at 2.45 inches. We've got 2 9600ths and through Stockton, so almost 3 inches there. Almost 4 3/4 in Sacramento. Marysville almost 4 inches, as well as Fairfield and Lake Tahoe got 4.71 inches. Another thing that I wanted to show you here, what's interesting to look at is what the elevation does with rainfall total. So we start out with Sacramento, which is just about 25 feet to almost sea level at 4.74 inches. Go to Loomis, which is about 400 feet, and Loomis had about 6.56 inches of rainfall. Forest Hill go up to 3,200 feet, almost 9 inches of rainfall over this time period. Blue Canyon, how about that? 12.68 inches of rainfall in Kingville, which is at 6,100 feet, over 14 inches of rain. So that's what the west slope of the Sierra gets when we get 4 inches here. We're talking almost 15 inches or more in some locations. So a lot of rain here in Northern California. You can understand why those creeks and streams and rivers have swollen so much. That's the latest. Back over to you.
Dirk, thank you. What's going on in your neighborhood? Here's some video sent to us from a KCRA3 insider, I should say, from you local. This is the Alberta area of Sacramento County, and you can see all of the water. Cars driving through. You can't even see the street at this point, just the line there. This was sent to us from you local on KCRA.com.
And more video now from you local. You can see the street flooding here in Carmichael, water covering the street right up to some people's driveways. This is a scene, as we've been showing you, that's just playing out across the region tonight.
Here's another one of the pictures our viewers sent in, video from a mobile home community in West Sacramento, and you can see the parking lot is completely underwater. And as the person from behind the camera is walking around, just about everywhere you can see the water. Thanks to all of our viewers allowing us to tell the story of what's going on in your community.
And KCRA3's Mallory Hoff showing us more pictures now. She's live with the storm fallout from Rio Linda, and it looks like the same story there, Mallory.
That's right. Well, this is what Dry Creek looks like today. As you can see here, not so dry. Take a look off to my left. You can see just how high the water level is. This picnic table really just sitting on its own island. Every few minutes, we'll see a tree limb or a large piece of bark float by. You can see how fast the water is moving here. Earlier, we drove around Rio Linda to see what the streets looked like. Take a look at what we saw. This is what neighbors called a wet mess on West East Street between Marysville Boulevard and Rio Linda Boulevard this afternoon.
A lot of water.
Flooding near a not-so-dry creek made driving a challenge for those determined to navigate their way through the flooding.
It's kind of sketchy. When your tires you can like skid out kind of. You got to be careful. You want to slow down before the water.
And for some, leaving the house was not an option. It appears this van isn't going anywhere anytime soon. But some people told us they don't mind staying in today.
I'm sitting, we're watching the football game here at the lodge, staying out of the rain and the floods. And
you're not going out in it?
No, I'm done.
And this is an area that's typically dry, but as you can see here, I am standing in about 6 inches or so of water. A lot of folks came out to this area today because they told us they wanted to see what it looked like for themselves. But it's important for us to note out that in order to get around, in order to do a little bit of sightseeing, you do have to brave those roads. So if you are heading out today, you just saw what the streets look like. Please do so with caution. We are live in Rio Linda. Mallory Hoff, KCRA 3 reports.
Mallory, thank you.
And we do have an alert, a couple of highway closures to tell you about. The first along Highway 70 in Butte County, that's northeast of Oroville. CHP and Chico confirming 70 starting at Big Bend Road will be closed for a couple of days because of standing water, some mud, some rocks and other debris out there. The other closure is along Highway 16 in Yolo County. This is northwest of Woodland. 16 closed from the Rumsey Canyon area to Highway 20. This too because of mudslide conditions. Now CHP telling us the road will be closed until at least late Monday afternoon.
KCRA.com is a wonderful tool for you to get all the latest updates of the storm and the fallout. Do want to draw your attention to the Livewire section. Our team of reporters and meteorologists are constantly updating it with the very latest information. You can also upload any flooding or storm-related damage to our ULocal section. You can also check out all the pictures from the other KCRA3 insiders.
We have much more storm coverage ahead in this special edition of KCRA3 Reports.
Including storm effects and how it was impacting the California International Marathon today. That's right. There were runners braving the rain and the snow. And there was a surprising finish to tell you about as well.
And we continue to follow this weather on this Sunday afternoon. A live look from our Rayleigh Field sky camera. Things a little calmer than they were just a couple hours ago. We'll have much more with our meteorologist next. Welcome back to a special edition of KCRA3 Reports at 3. We've seen some amazing pictures coming out of our region today.
And it's interesting to see how the difference the afternoon is compared to the early morning.
And Dirk Verdorn's been following it all for us. Dirk, what do you have for us?
Oh, well, it's still very wet, even though it looks like it's drying outside. Ground is saturated at this point with all the rain that came through. But some beautiful pictures here from Sacramento. This is our Citizen Hotel sky camera. You can see some of the clouds out there. If you're a cloud watcher, this is the time to be out there looking at that beautiful blue sky. 62 degrees. Visibility is just fantastic right now in a southwest wind blowing at 10 miles per hour instead of those strong southeast winds that we had as that cold front was coming on through. 60 degrees in Stockton currently with mostly cloudy skies and a west wind blowing at 7 miles per hour. From Stockton to Modesto, where we're sitting at 62 degrees. It's a little bit darker. We've got a little bit more in the way of cloud cover the farther south you go. Northwest wind blowing at 10 miles per hour. So that tells you that things have really flipped around. Don't have that south wind again. Northwest wind. 62 degrees, the current temperature in Fairfield. Skies are clearing out. Northwest wind blowing at 9 miles per hour. In Lake Tahoe currently 39 degrees. A few breaks in the sky as well, with the southwest wind blowing at 14 miles per hour. Doppler showing where this weather system currently is. You can still see some precipitation. It's exiting the region, but expect to have still a few scattered showers into the southeastern corner of our forecast area. Sonora has been seeing some showers along Highway 108. Still a little bit of rain near Groveland. Expect to have these showers all decreasing. This is moving along pretty rapidly, but we still have some snow over I-80. Look at this, is actually picking up, as you can see, as you work your way over Donner Summit and on towards Truckee. That rain is turning into some snow. Don't expect too much in the way of accumulation, but yes, there is some snow. Another spot I wanted to show you here is near Quincy. Bucks Lake, that's getting a little bit of snow, so there's still some showers in throughout the northern Sierra, as well as most of it pulling out of the southern Sierra. Winds ranging anywhere from 7 to 10 miles per hour, as opposed to those wind gusts that we're having upwards of 30 to 40 miles per hour. Conditions are going to be drying out as we go through tonight. We'll have a few clouds creep across our skies as we head through your Monday. Expect to stay dry, though, throughout Monday. It's going to be a nice cleanup day. Tuesday also not too bad, but we will have increasing cloud cover as we make our way from Monday night on into Tuesday. And here comes another chance for some more rain. This weather system is not going to be nearly as stormy as the last one is, but it is going to bring some significant rainfall, especially along the western slope of this area. You can see this by 10 p.m. on Tuesday. So we're not completely done. Yes, there's more rain, but it does not look like it's going to be as threatening. 46 degrees at Lake Tahoe as we head into tomorrow. 51 in Pollock Pines, 49 degrees in Arnold. So temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s for daytime highs. We push into the upper 50s to even some lower 60s on through Sonora and Angels Camp. Bay Area temperatures in the lower 60s through San Francisco and Concord. Fairfield 62 degrees with west winds from 5 to 15 miles per hour. And winds are going to be generally light, anywhere from 5 to 10, and through the San Joaquin Valley with temperatures in the lower 60s through Manteca, Tracy, and Lodi. Lower 60s also through the Sacramento Valley. Folsom 62, Roseville 61, and Davis 60 degrees with partly cloudy skies. We'll have that sunshine. That'll be nice on Monday, but the clouds will start to move in as we head through Tuesday, leading to that chance for some more rain through Tuesday and even on into Wednesday morning before that clears out. And it looks like we have an extended period of dry weather through next weekend.
So through storm 3 of 3, what we've been dealing with over the last couple of days. Now we're starting, Kelly, to get more of an idea of the fallout from the storm in terms of flooding and damage. We begin in Sacramento. This is near McKinley Park, where you can see a taxi cab is stuck in the water, so I take it that the cab is out of service right there. The rain just too much for some of the creeks and streams in the area. This is water from Arcade Creek in Sacramento County. It shot up over the banks and into the streets, and in winding way there, looks more like a river than the street that we're used to seeing cars drive down. And here's a look at the El Dorado Hills area where the rain was pounding the pavement this morning. The Foothill community, much like everywhere else in the region, the rain started coming down between 6 and 7 a.m. It was heavy at times and then stopped between 11 and 12. And then here's a look at top of Gresham Road in El Dorado Hills, and it shows that the fog's still into the foothills. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen just a little bit of break. That is looking towards Rancho Murrieta from El Dorado County in towards Amador County.
Just kind of sucked in this morning. morning. Meantime, a 93-year-old blind woman rescued from raging floodwaters today by her grandson, Bill. He lifted his grandma, Ruthie, high above Arcade Creek that we just showed you that just went over the banks. And here's another view of it. It flooded out these residents of the Villa Mobile Home Park in Citrus Heights. And despite the danger, well, Ruthie Coker appeared to be in pretty good spirits.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. It's these four guys that had to haul me out here.
They did a great job getting her to safety and helping all their neighbors there. The storm effects have also been felt throughout Placer County.
KCRA 3 Sharkita Shams has a look at some of the damage there.
Hours of non-stop rain led to street flooding like this, and wind, which people heard, eventually made its powers seen.
It looks like a thunder, like some lightning hit it.
By 7 o'clock this morning, this tree had taken all it could and fell over into the Heritage Park apartment parking lot in Roseville. And that's just the view from the front of the fall. Take a look at the view from the back of the fall. The force of this crash so strong, the tree took out a portion of this brick wall that leads from the neighbor's house to the apartment complex.
I looked out the window, I don't know how many different times, and looked out, and I was like, is that really there in the wall like that? That looks like a picture of a movie or something.
Elsewhere, constant morning rain had nowhere to go. Christy Lewis and her neighbors used their own rakes to try to unplug storm drains. Lewis, whose car was parked where the pool had formed, had no choice.
I have to pop my hood in order to start my car, so I can't just hop in it. And it's like pretty flooded, and I didn't want to stand ankle deep in water.
And on several parts of Sierra College Boulevard, this is what drivers faced, most choosing to drive around the pool rather than go through it. In Roseville, Sharkina Shams, KCRA 3 reports.
And in KCRA 3 meteorologist Dirk Verdoorn has a look at what's going on outside right now. Dirk, really a tale of two days from the morning to this afternoon now, huh?
Yeah, completely different. We had, of course, the tremendous amount of rain coming in such a short period of time. That's why we had a lot of the flooding, and it's been interesting to see this storm because it's so early in the season with all the leaves still around, all of the street flooding that was caused because of that. And of course, you saw that with that story there by Sharkina. But the rain is moving on, and that has turned into some snow in the Sierra. Zooming in, Tuolumne County, you can see that transition from some rain showers turning into some pretty decent snow. Looks like we may even get a little bit of accumulation there of an inch or two from that flow that makes its way up over the Sierra. A little bit farther north, some snow also along I-80 as we have that transition from rain into some snow. Snow levels have been dropping. We can see those snow levels dip down closer to 6,000 feet as we go through the next few hours, but most of this moisture is going to be gone. So what we're seeing right now is kind of the last little remnants here, the last gasp of this weather system. And you can see near Quincy, LaPorte, there's some showers in the surrounding mountains, but it looks like those locations currently are dry. We are looking at conditions that are going to be clear for a while. We have more rain on the way, and of course we'll have more details about that coming up a little bit later on. Now we'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, Dirk. Mike DeSelle's telling us that where you're talking about up in the Sierra Kingville area, the snow is starting to fall. Let's go to him live now to take a look. Mike, what's the situation there?
Yeah, big change over just the last 20 minutes that we've been standing here. Take a look. You can see the snow now falling pretty good clip right now here at Soda Springs. We got the big plow out with the chains on the tires pushing this snow, and look at how much is on the ground. I mean, we're talking some good, wet, heavy snow here again. You can see how much water is in this. Watch. I mean, that is some very wet stuff. We're not talking the light stuff. And as far as the accumulations, again, this is a car that's been parked here for quite a bit. And you can see how much is in there. That's some pretty good snow right there. That gives you a sense of how much snow has fallen, enough that there is full-on digging out going on in this parking lot right now. I'd say about 5-6 inches of snow on the ground. Talking to a couple of people who were just up here, they said they were expecting rain all day, and now they have this. This is not what they expected, but yes, it is snowing and snowing pretty good clip right now here on Donner Summit. So at last check, I-80, things were moving slowly, but when you get this kind of snow shower going in, it can make for some tricky driving over the summit. So if you are heading out of Truckee towards Sacramento here in the next couple of minutes, just be prepared. Conditions are changing up here. Carry those chains. You never know when the chain control is going to go back up. They dropped a while ago and things really cleared out, but now the snow is back. driving could change. We'll stay on top of it, but live at Soda Springs, just off I-80, I'm Mike DeSalle, KCRA 3 reports.
Time of year we got to just bring layers. Just pack the car full of the snow gear and be prepared for anything. Thanks, Mike. Well, some intense rain also fell through Stockton and San Joaquin County today.
KCRA 3's Melinda Mesa is live with a look at the damage there.
Oh, well, some people are still experiencing damage from this rainfall today. If you look right behind me, you see a tow truck, and right behind that is a sports car that didn't quite make it through all that water right in the middle of the street. Now, we are live on Plymouth Road in Stockton, but I can tell you this isn't the only neighborhood to get hit hard. This last storm caused many Stockton streets to look more like a Stockton stream. Dozens of streets in San Joaquin County are underwater.
Well, I have never seen it like this before, ever. So even with, some pretty huge storms.
Like I say, the county came out and they're working on it. They'll get it fixed.
And some people who have lived near the University of Pacific for decades agree.
It was like sheets, heavy sheets of rain. And just kept coming and coming, and the drains kept falling. A mess.
Although some say they are making the most of the water, they are still being cautious.
So it started getting a little too high, so we tried to help neighbors out and pull some leaves out.
It is a concern because this is a low-lying area near the Calaveras River, so it is kind of a natural drainage area.
Are you taking any precautions or?
At this point, we're just watching it.
And then some people who live in this neighborhood are outdoors, raking up the leaves, doing all they can to protect their homes from flooding, because this street earlier that we are live on, Plymouth Road, it was several feet deep in water. Now, we can tell you, we talked to the Office of Emergency Services here in San Joaquin County. They say that more than 200 people are still without power right now, and that's in the Alpine area of Stockton. And we will keep you updated on this developing news. Reporting live in Stockton, I'm Melinda Mesa. KCRA 3 reports.
Melinda, thank you. Now the big concern away from the rain is the rivers and creeks and if they're rising. Chief Meteorologist Mark Finan joins us now taking a look at the creeks and streams in our area.
Yeah, and it's good to get kind of a status check here. We'll start with the Truckee River because back on Thursday was when we first started getting the forecasts for this to really jump up. Let me show you just what this has done so far today. It is actually not going up as fast because we had that change over to snow, and this is great news. It has actually peaked here even below minor flood stage at about 4.5 feet. It was forecast to go over 7 feet. We even had some forecasts over 8 feet, but now much better news along the Truckee River. The Napa River is also running high, but it looks as though it's going to stay reasonably within its banks. There's a lot of water running down here, but it too is probably peaking right around here, not quite as high as it was forecast to be. But again, that's terrific news. Most of what we've been concerned about throughout the day have been the creeks in our area. Deer Creek is still at flood stage. Now that's at Scott Road, and it's holding steady right now. Deer Creek drains a lot of that water coming out of El Dorado County, and that's holding steady as that water is still going to be probably crossing Scott Road and maybe even Kiefer Boulevard a little bit farther downstream. Arcade Creek also still has a lot of water in it. It's still at flood stage, but it is now dropping. We also have Kirby Creek, Linda Creek, and Dry Creek. Kirby and Linda eventually form into Dry Creek. Dry Creek is still at monitor stage, and it's holding steady with a lot of water flowing through it. We're over Dry Creek right now in Live Copter 3, and that's where you'll find KCRA 3 meteorologist David Bigger. David, how's Dry Creek look from above?
Mark, we're seeing a lot of rainfall, not a lot of rainfall, but a lot of water here on Dry Creek. We crossed over Willerga Road at one point. The water had gone over the roadway, so people were backed up in either direction, slowly working across the water, obviously creating quite a bit of wake. Obviously, we can't recommend that people drive across the creek. But what we've noticed is as we've continued down Dry Creek, all that we're seeing is just water. I mean, it's everywhere. It's flooded a lot of areas here, a lot of the farmland, even into some of the neighborhoods. In fact, we just passed a golf course. It's hard to tell what's a water hazard and what was just formed today. There is plenty of water that has come out of Dry Creek into a lot of the surrounding lands, and this is just the cumulative effect of having Kirby Creek and Linda Creek all drain into Dry Creek, and all that water is now starting to spill out of the banks a little bit farther downstream from where some of our gauges are. Mark?
Actually, David, I think you're showing us the Cherry Island Golf Course with Dry Creek just snaking right on through it. And yeah, that is an area that we often get flooding in when Dry Creek decides to go up. But yeah, and of course, this water eventually makes its way down through the Rio Linda area before dumping into the Natomas Canal. So that's where all that water is heading. And yeah, that's going to take a little while to go down. Back to you.
Thanks, Mark. We also have some aerial video from Napa County. This is a section of flooded farmland in St. Helena where you can see a tractor and at least one building and what looks like an inch or two at least of standing water. We also got some shots of the Napa River. It's not flooded yet, but certainly running high. And not far from there, this spillways out of Rector Reservoir, which is due north of the city of Napa and southwest of a much bigger reservoir, Lake Berryessa.
In El Dorado County, the concern there, like all across the region, swollen creeks and streams that really turn into rivers. This is Carson Creek, and it's one of those that runs along the roadway that you typically do not notice until a rain. Well, this creek looks more like a rushing river at this point. It flows down Silva Valley Road, past White Rock, Latrobe, all the way to Grizzly Slough, and it was moving this morning.
We're taking a look at all the water, but the winds were another big concern today. They were pretty strong through the latest storm.
KCRA 3's meteorologist Dirk Vadorn joining us now to show us how strong the winds got.
Yeah, it made it rough to sleep in the morning this morning. As that weather system came through, the houses were rocking as those gusts did peak up over 30 to 40 miles per hour in many locations. Right now, you can see the wind speeds anywhere from 6 to 10 miles per hour, and that's what we're going to experience as we go through the overnight tonight. But just to kind of, I guess, go with the extreme wind gust, the peak wind gust that we had here in Northern California, at least that was measured, was 102 miles per hour on Saddleback, which sits at about 6,600 feet in Placer County. That's a pretty strong wind gust. But get back to reality here. Most areas did not see winds that were that strong. We had winds that were ranging more in the 30-mile-an-hour range. Fairfield had a 44-mile-an-hour wind gust. Marysville, 46-mile-an-hour wind gust. Lake Tahoe, 52-mile-per-hour wind gust. So those are the wind gusts that we experienced. Most of those numbers were during the early morning hours. We've had a few of them hold on a little bit later on as this weather system passed on by, but again, the winds are looking fairly light as we make our way through the days to come, and I'll have a closer look at that forecast coming up.
Dirk, thanks very much. We should let you know KCRA.com is your place for all the updates of the storm and its fallout. You'll want to pay close attention to our live wire section. That's where our reporters and meteorologists constantly updating it with the latest information for you. And you can also upload any flooding, storm-related damage, any pictures you see around your neighborhood. Of course, if you can take those pictures safely, we love to see them and oftentimes get them on the air. You can also check out all of the pictures from other KCRA3 viewers as well.
Can't wait to see some pictures from the CIM today. Boy, some brave souls out and about running a marathon at all of this. When we continue tonight, we'll follow the weather aftermath, including the impacts that it had, the rain and the wind on the marathon.
And a live picture from Modesto shows the wind kicking up a little bit. We'll have more in just a minute.
Bumping back in with pictures from Livecopter 3 HD photographer Bill Schmeckel flying above with our helicopter today and taking these images of the Dry Creek area near Rio Linda. This is just before it flows into the Natomas Canal, and you can see all the water that has been left behind from today's heavy rain.
A lot of us were hunkered down in our houses this morning, and then thousands were out running in it, if you can believe it. The rain and wind out with the 30th California International Marathon. Runners braced those elements and crossed the finish line.
They braved them as well. KCRA3's May Fasai shows us the effects and how the winners are feeling now.
In the rain.
Rain is definitely distracting, poking you.
And the wind.
The wind, it'll slow you down on a headwind. Things like that would just slow down your running.
The harsh weather didn't slow down Daniel Tapia very much. The winner of the California International Marathon finished the race in just over 2 hours. But the 26-year-old from the Central Coast did have to adopt a new strategy in running the 26.2 miles from Folsom to Sacramento.
I just stayed back in the back of the big pack with the big headwind we had in the beginning. I was even wearing one of these in the beginning.
The weather did slow down many of the 15,000 participants expected to run. A busload of marathoners were late to the race, likely dealing with traffic delays on the area's wet and slick roads.
What's it like in this weather?
It sucked. Yeah, it was horrible. Well, it got better as we went. It's like a nightmare.
Despite the nightmare, thousands of people crowded the finish line at the state capitol.
I'm used to running in the rain a little bit, but I don't train in the rain. For me, it's like 65. Pretty moderate weather all year round. So this just made me be very conservative, and I think that paid off.
In Sacramento, May Fasai, KCRA 3 reports.
Good for them. Well, CIM runners endured winds up to 28 miles per hour this morning. People in Placerville will have to wait until next year for the annual Hangtown Christmas Parade. Placerville police let us know just this afternoon that it was canceled because storm drains in the downtown area have just been overwhelmed by all the rain. This year's parade, by the way, will not be rescheduled. Chris?
Taking a look at some of the pictures that you have sent in to our webpage at kcra.com/ulocal really tells the story of what's going on in your community. As we take a peek at some of the photos sent in today, here's some of the flooding that you see in our area streets and roadways. And how about this from Soda Springs, California, up in the high country there. They were very concerned along the Truckee River, obviously because of the flooding warnings that were up there. The snow saved the day today. Back in El Dorado, as we go back into El Dorado County, you can see the cars and the homes here completely surrounded by water, left behind by rains. Another individual sent in via uLocal on their mobile phone. They said this is their driveway, which was flooded along in a rural area where they live. Here's Sutter Avenue as well. As we shuttle through some of the pictures, you can see some of the rainwater and the mess that has been left behind due to the heavy rains and the flooding within our region. Please send us in your photos. It helps us tell the story. All you have to do is go to our website at kcra.com/ulocal. Kelly?
Chris, people have been sending us their video as well. When we come back, the storm from the eyes of viewers like you. Look at that.
Close to Rainbow Lodge.
Look at that. An insider sent us this video of the Yuba River. You can hear her saying just above Rainbow Lodge in Yuba County. And you can see the snow, the fast-moving water surrounding that little tiny cabin. You kind of got to wonder what condition it's in at this hour.
Wow, taking on a lot of water there. Some people taking advantage of the flooded streets, have a little bit of fun. This is Salsa Prime posting the video from Stockton. You can see this is probably the best mode of transportation for many today. Just getting your kayak and heading straight down the neighborhood.
Taking it easy, pack some snacks. A similar scene in Citrus Heights today. There you go. Wooddale Way looked more like a little river out there. Sounds like some nice music, too. One person decided to take the dog out for a little walk and a little swim at the same time.
People making the most of it. And how about this? After the rain stopped, the sun did come out. Some kids in Carmichael, you know the kids have been having a little bit of cabin fever, being indoors over the last 48 hours. They turned their front yard into a perfect place to do a little bit of wakeboarding. Not something you can do each and every day. Good job indeed.
It's either that or building snowmen. You got to do with what you got.
That's right.
Our guys have been following this storm, our meteorologist, and it looks like Dirk is standing by with the clouds right now. Still look kind of dark.
I could so see my kids doing that. Just like, you know what a mess you're making of that lawn?
Tons of fun, though.
Yeah, they'd have a lot of fun in it. Currently 62 degrees. They have a live copter up and looking out across from the Rio Linda area off to the east. You can see some of the cloud cover building up, kind of a little congested out there, but the temperatures, not too bad, in the lower 60s. Through Stockton and Modesto, Lake Tahoe currently 39 degrees, but just I love these shots after a cold front has come through and we're looking at the clouds. You got the blue skies, and look at that, we're sitting right underneath one of those clouds. Thanks for those shots, Live Copter 3. As we take a look at Doppler, there's 3 locations that I want to show you here where we're still holding on to some precipitation. One of them is in Tuolumne County. You can see near Sonora, a little bit to the north, a little bit to the south, and this is all moving its way again off to the east and to the northeast. So we'll see that kind of running parallel to Highway 108. Other spot is along I-80 where we're holding on to some snow there. Actually, the snow has actually picked up a little bit. We have some intense little cells that are popping up here and there, and so that's going to linger a little bit longer, but that too is going to be dissipating as we make our way through the evening, and by the time the sun goes down, most of this should well be gone. Bucks Lake also sitting right underneath the bullseye of some snow in that area. Expect to have the snow linger again just a little bit longer. I mean, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and that snow is going to be tapering off, and we're going to be clearing things out. Our skies should look pretty nice as we go through the night tonight. So what can we expect as we head through the week to come? Well, this weather system is moving on out. It's going to open the door for another weather system. Now, this one is not a big storm by any means, but it is going to bring some more rain to the area. We still could see amounts upwards of a half an inch or more in some spots in the valley. That means a little bit more through the Sierra, and it's going to be another very warm system. So snow levels are going to be running upwards of 8,000 to possibly even 9,000 feet as we head through Wednesday. And then Wednesday evening and overnight, we should see those snow levels dropping back down below 7,000 feet. So this is what's going to make its way through late Tuesday and into Wednesday. That will clear clear out, and then we have an extended period where we're not expecting any precipitation in our area here in Northern California. Expect to have dry skies all the way through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you need to do any cleanup, that's the time to really do it. Temperatures in the 40s for tomorrow through Truckee, Lake Tahoe, 50s through Pollock Pines as well as Yosemite, Arnold, 49 degrees with some cloud cover, and it looks like things are going to be drying out. Looking pretty good through the Motherlode with temperatures ranging in the 50s, close to 60 degrees, and through Sonora with southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Another good thing is, the winds are going to be fairly light. We're not expecting much in the way of winds. Bay Area in the 60s, the lower 60s. How about 60 degrees in Napa, Fairfield 62, 61 in Antioch with those west winds from 5 to 15 miles per hour. And relatively light winds can be expected through the San Joaquin Valley with temperatures ranging in the lower 60s through Tracy and Turlock, 62 in Modesto, Lodi, 61 degrees, and temperatures ranging in the lower 60s through the Sacramento Valley with Davis at 60 as well as Woodland, 59 in Marysville, 61 in Roseville, and 61 degrees for Sacramento. 7-day forecast, drying out on Monday. Again, much of your Tuesday looks dry, but as we head through the late afternoon and evening hours, we could start seeing some of that rain push on in. And again, this is going to be a warmer system, so temperatures actually ranging in the mid to lower 60s through Wednesday. Then things dry out for Thursday, Friday. We have an extended stretch of conditions that will be dry all the way through next weekend.
We'll take that, Dirk. Thank you.
And we'll be right back with more video. Stay with us.
Dramatic pictures from San Andreas in Calaveras County. Big B says that a creek behind a gas station overflowed, sending rushing water into the parking lot and into the street there.
And we had to show you this because it's just so cute. We've had all this intense rain footage. We have a special little reporter that sent in her meteorology skills. Take a look at this.
This is special KCRA3 news report. I need everyone to back away from this area or else they're going to get sucked in.
So a 7-year-old reporter posted this from Crestmont Drive in Roseville, not far from Vista Creek. And they even spotted some people in a raft that were floating on their street there. I think he could do your job someday when he grows up. What do you think?
I love it. All of our heroes. Job well done. We'll start with you on this day. You've followed it from this morning now. It's interesting to see how we have the calm after the storm, and now we're monitoring the creeks and in the streams here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm even just thinking back to like last Wednesday when we started seeing the first storm, and we had the 3 storms. We just, as expected, to have the cumulative effect, and it's the 3rd storm that caused all the problems. Sacramento picked up 4 3/4 inches of rain over the course of the 5 days. The other way I think about that is that's 25% of our annual average. Just we had in 5 days. And that's what leads to the problems that we've been looking at all day.
And the wind has been so bad too. We saw a lot of pictures of trees falling down. Is that surprising to you or just something that kind of comes along with all this?
No, usually early in the season is when we have these storms that come along, and we'll see the weaker trees, weaker limbs, things like that are going to cause a problem. They're going to be breaking off. And as we go through the season, those trees that kind of can handle these storms are the ones that last throughout the season. But what surprised me was just, again, all the leaves and the impact that the leaves had on all the street flooding that took place, not only here in Sacramento, which is the city of trees, which is also the city of leaves, but also conditions in through Modesto and Stockton. What flooding we saw everywhere.
Gentlemen, job well done.
Yeah,
I know it's been a very busy week for you guys. Thanks for watching this special edition of KCRA 3 News.
And we'll be back at 5 over on My 58 and right here after the football game.